welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. It is finally going to be another speed reviews video. It's been a while since I have done a speed reviews on my channel. It's been a while since I've come back to review the products that I've hauled the last few months. So I have tons of products to review for you guys today. I have some Catrice products. I have the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I finally have my thoughts on Rare Beauty, some ColourPop palettes. We got a lot of stuff to review today. So if you like makeup reviews and you're interested in hearing my thoughts on some of these products, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave today. I try my best to post 4 times a week. I've been trying to post more than 4 times a week. Fingers crossed I will pre-film enough that I can do like Vlogmas and post every single day from December 1st to not January 25th, from December 1st to December 25th. Get it together, Steph. So if you guys are not subscribed and are interested, I would love if you would subscribe before moving on. And other than that, let's just get into the reviews. So I am in complete denial that winter is here in Minnesota. We had a terrible snowstorm yesterday. My commute to and from work is usually like 38 to 45 minutes pending traffic. And it took me an hour and a half to get home yesterday. And I have really, really bad anxiety driving in the snow. I swear it's gotten worse with age. And like, I just got a new car with 4-wheel drive and I get such bad anxiety. Sometimes I will like drive 10 minutes, then I'll pull off at like an exit, sit in a gas station parking lot for like 5 minutes, collect myself, get my anxiety in check, drive another 10 minutes, pull over. So I'm in complete denial that winter is here. That is why you are seeing a neon look. I'm wearing a tank top. It's not winter, right? I hope I like the way that this look turns out. I feel like my eyes look incredibly downturned right now. I really am not great at doing like a lifting of the eye, but we're rolling with it. So I'm going to structure my speed reviews kind of like Kelly Gooch does, where she talks about her favorites, products that are just okay, and then I also have three fails. So we're gonna start with the products that I have been loving. Like I said, I finally have my thoughts on Rare Beauty, and I have some hits and I have some just okay products, but I have 3 products from the Rare Beauty line that I have really come to love. It's always so noisy at my house. Sorry about the traffic. I don't have everything from the Rare Beauty line, but I did pick up quite a few items, and I think my favorite would be between the highlighter and the liquid blushes. I have my liquid highlight in the shade Mesmerize, which is a really, really pretty pink shade. I really like a pink toned highlight. And this has been really hit or miss based on the reviews that I've seen. People's complaints with this is that it is just more of like a sheer highlight, which I actually prefer. I have been enjoying more of like a natural, more subtle highlight, and this just really gives me that. So on days where I just want like a really natural look, I use this highlight. Sometimes I go in with like liquid and cream products and then I layer them with powders as well. I do that a lot with this product, and I just think it's really, really beautiful. Again, if you like a more blinding highlight, this is definitely going to be a pass for you. But for me and my new highlighter preferences, I've really been enjoying this. And then the liquid blushes I've also really been enjoying. There's definitely a learning curve with these because they are very, very pigmented. So she did come out with 2 formulas. She has a dewy formula. I have 1 shade in the dewy formula. I picked up the shade Joy, and I know I'm going to absolutely adore this shade in the summertime. It's just this really beautiful, bright, reddy orange shade. I think the dewy formula is really stunning. I prefer the dewy to the matte. However, I really like my matte shades. And again, I feel like I'm going to get more use out of this in the summer just because of the shade. The 2 matte shades that I have are Blissful, I believe, Bliss, which is this really pretty, just neutral pink shade. There's Bliss. I don't even know if you'll be able to see it. This one is really nice because you really can blend this one away to be pretty sheer, or you can build up the pigment. And then most recently I picked up the shade Love, which is this really beautiful, I think this is a matte one. I might be wrong. I think this is matte. Yes. What am I thinking? Why did I think this was a dewy one? This one's super pigmented, so you have to be really careful with this. This is in the shade Love. Like I said, it's this really beautiful, like reddy, burnt orange shade that I just think is really beautiful for this time of year. I'm a huge fan of the liquid blushes. I don't necessarily think they'll be for everyone because, again, they are very pigmented and there definitely is a learning curve with them. But if you are a fan of liquid blush products, definitely recommend checking those out. I also am a huge fan of the primer. This is the, I want to say, is it the Optimist? No, the Optimist primer, maybe? The Illuminating Primer. This is very, very illuminating, but it also is really, really hydrating. And I feel like right when you put it on, it's like very intensely illuminating. If you have oily skin, I don't feel like you're gonna like this, but after you blend it out, it's more of, not like a natural glow. It definitely is a more radiant than a natural glow, but it isn't quite as intense as like the Tin Man look that you're getting right as you apply it. And again, it is just super hydrating, which I really appreciate. So I've been a big fan of the primer from Rare Beauty as well. I have two products from Uoma Beauty that I've also recently been loving, recently picked up and been loving. So first up, I have the Double Take Contour and Highlight Wand. I have mine in the lightest shade. I believe this is in the shade White Pearl. So you have your contour shade, which I really like because on screen, I feel like it looks really, really gray. In person, like, it's not as gray as some contours, so I feel like it's just like the perfect shade, especially for someone with really pale skin like I typically do. I'm a little bit self-tanned right now, not like uber. And then you also have the highlight, which I swatched right here. You might not be able to see this the best on my self-tanned arms, but this, again, is more of a subtle, natural highlight, which, again, I really appreciate. Both the contour and highlight side are really creamy, super easy to blend and work with. If you are a beginner with cream and liquid products, I think that this would work really nicely for you. It just blends super easily, and I've had no issues with it. Really enjoy this. I really want to get the next step up. I think it's Fair Lady, the blue with the blue rings, but I've been a huge fan of this. And then also the Uoma Beauty Say What Weightless Foundation, I am a huge fan of. I have mine in the shade White Pearl T2N. This is really light. I wish that I had gone with the neutral shade with the blue cap, but when I purchased this during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, that shade was sold out. This was not what I was expecting at all. For some reason, I thought that this foundation was going to be more of a thicker consistency, and I also thought it was going to be more mattifying. This is so liquidy. It just like runs down your face. The first time I used this, I was like, I feel like it like ran off my face and fell onto my lap because I just wasn't expecting it to be as liquidy as it was. Very lightweight. I would say it's more of a medium coverage, so if you are looking for more of a full coverage foundation, this probably isn't going to be your favorite. It says that this has a soft matte finish, which I would agree with. Typically, I like more of a natural finish, but I feel like this is such a soft matte that it looks natural on the skin. It doesn't make my skin look really flat. It doesn't make my skin look lifeless, and I have been a huge fan of this. I want to pick up another shade because, again, the shade match is not great for me, even at my favorite. But in terms of the actual formula, I am a huge fan of this one. Next up, I have the Ordinary High Adherence Silicone Primer. I have been a big fan of this. I picked this up, I think, in the beginning of September. I don't even know if I hauled this, but I have been loving this. This reminds me quite a bit of the First Aid Beauty Pores Be Gone Primer, except for this one feels a little bit more silicone-y. If I had to choose between the two, I would probably still go with my First Aid Beauty one just because I like how that one feels a little bit more on my skin. It just feels a little bit more hydrating than this one does. But this one is $5.90, and I just feel like you can't beat that price. You are getting a full fluid ounce in this. The First Aid Beauty primers, you're getting 1.7 fluid ounces, but this is still a better deal. If you like something that is going to blur your skin but not feel like it's drying, I would recommend checking this out. This is something that, as of right now, if I finish this up, I would repurchase. From Tower 28, I've also been a huge fan of the Bronzino bronzer. I have mine in the shade West Coast, which is the lighter of the two shades. I'm really upset with myself that I waited so long to purchase this because I know I would have gotten a ton of use out of this in the summertime. This is more of a shimmery bronzer. It almost kind of looks like a bronzy highlight. this just adds like a healthy glow to the cheeks, and I absolutely love it. Usually I pop this on top of a different cream bronzer. I've used this a lot on top of my Milk makeup bronzing stick, and I just love the combo. I know I'm going to be reaching for this a ton come next spring, summer, and this is something that if I finish this, I would absolutely repurchase this as well. Highly recommend just about every product from Tower 28. I'm just so impressed with the brand, and this one did not disappoint either. All right, and then I just have 4 palettes to wrap it up with in my favorites category. This first palette would not have ended up in the favorites category if it was based on like my first or second or even third impression. But this has been going in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, and I have really come to love this palette. It's the Pat McGrath Rose Decadence palette. So this is what the palette looks like, and I think the reason I didn't love this at first was because this doesn't really have any of the Pat like special shades, but I love all of the shimmers in this. I will say this one right here, try not to blind you guys with the mirror. This one right here is a little bit chunkier, a little bit drier, but I still like it. This one I've used quite a bit to kind of blend some of my mauve tone looks together. Any mauve tone look that I have created the last like 2.5 months, I have reached in to this palette for at least one shade. This is the shade that I'm currently panning in my Pan Those Eyeshadows, and I love this shade. It is such a beautiful light pink shade, and then also the gold and this like kind of fiery reddy pink shade as well. I'm a huge fan of it. The mattes perform really nicely. I wouldn't say this is like my favorite palette for the mattes. I also wouldn't say that this palette is going to be for everyone. If you love pink shadows and if you love these tones, I would recommend this. Otherwise, I would hold off. It is very expensive still at $65, I believe. But this has turned into a favorite. Like I said, in the beginning, I was like, I kind of regret buying this. But that has quickly turned into one that I have reached for just so much lately. My dog keeps hitting my tripod. At least he's living his best life. I have 2 ColourPop palettes. I have the ColourPop Going Coconuts, which I finally tried, and then also the Low Ray of Sunshine. The Going Coconuts is just, as so many people have said, such a perfect palette if you like neutral browns. This is something if I am running out the door for work and need just something very quick and easy, I reach into this either just for a one shade and done. I like to use like this shade right here or this shade right here, but also the foiled shades in here are super intense. Cocoa Crush is absolutely beautiful. This whole row is just stunning, and I've been a really big fan of the ColourPop Going Coconuts. But even more so, I have absolutely loved the ColourPop Low Ray of Sunshine palette. It's a 9-pan all matte palette. Every look that I have created with this, I have absolutely loved. I also picked up these Super Shock shadows from this collection, and they, like, if you like a shimmery lid, they just knock it out of the park. I think that they pair really nicely with this palette. I didn't want this video to be forever and a day long, so I just didn't include the ColourPop Super Shocks that came with this. But I also wanted to just mention that those were beautiful and pair really nicely with this palette. If this palette is still available, I highly recommend this one. I was really impressed. And then finally, I have been absolutely loving the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I know you guys have probably seen this palette a million times over. This is such a nice everyday palette. I love that you have a range of warm and cool tones. You can really use this as a day palette and then transition it into night. I just think it's such a versatile everyday palette. I know this palette isn't going to be for everyone. Some people don't like neutrals, but if you have been eyeing the Natasha Denona palettes, the $129 price tag doesn't scare you away, and you like neutral shades, you like a good variety, you like a nice high quality formula, I do think that you would like this. I would say this is one that I feel like you could wait to get this on a sale. Like, I don't know if I would recommend this for the $129 without some kind of a discount, just because, I mean, for the most part, like, you can recreate this palette. Let's be honest. We can recreate this palette with other more affordable options, but if you're a Natasha Denona fan, this is a really nice palette, and I have really been loving it. All right, now moving into my just okay category. These are products that I really like, but probably would not repurchase for whatever reason or another. They just didn't turn into absolute staples or favorites in my collection. So I have some lips to share. Up first, I have these 2 from itsjustSteph. I picked up one of their matte and one of their cream lipsticks in their, I forget what these are called, maybe like something about pillows. I have the shade Vision in the matte formula, which is a really beautiful like mid-toned neutral shade. And then I also picked up the shade Humble in the cream shade. I actually feel like the cream shade feels more matte and the matte feels more like a cream to me. I really love this shade, Humble, yes. I just don't feel like these are the most long lasting on the lips. I feel like I have to reapply like every 45 minutes to an hour, even with the matte. I think they're comfortable, but I don't feel like they're worth the price tag. Again, I think that these are good. I just wouldn't, like I wouldn't go out and purchase more shades, which is why I am including these in the Just Okay. And then the other two lip products that I am putting in this category, I feel like it's gonna be like a little controversial, but I have these two from Charlotte Tilbury. I like these, I just don't know that it's worth the price tag. So up first I have the shade Very Victoria. This is in, I believe, the like Revolution Matte formula. There's the shade. I mean, it's an absolutely stunning shade. I love this shade. I just feel like the packaging isn't as heavy as I would have expected for such a pricey lipstick. And like, I don't know if I could necessarily dupe this within my collection. Perhaps. I haven't tried. But I just, $34 is so expensive. Especially, I don't wear lipsticks every day, so for me it's just not worth it. I feel like there are so many other great, more affordable lipsticks, and you could probably find a shade similar to that. And then I also have the JK Magic. This definitely is way dear. The packaging on this is a lot nicer. I believe these are $37. Anyway, I have mine in the shade JK Magic. This is the Kissing formula. Again, I absolutely love the shade. This is one that I do feel like I have to reapply more often. It obviously is more of like a satin type of formula rather than the Revolution Matte. I might be saying that wrong. I can't remember. It's the matte version. Definitely a lot more like a satin sort of finish. A lot more comfortable on the lips. Very smooth, very creamy. I just don't feel like it's worth the $37 price tag. I also had someone, I can't remember if it was on Instagram or a previous YouTube video where maybe I hauled this. Someone said they had theirs in their purse and the packaging got all scratched up, which like for $37, like, So for me, I would say these are just okay, probably not worth the price tag. I also have two Rare Beauty products that for me are just okay. That is the foundation. I have mine in the shade 150C. When I am not self-tanned, this is a pretty good shade match for me. At first, I thought I was gonna love this, but as I've used it more and more, I'm like, you know what? I probably wouldn't repurchase this when I finish it. I have other foundations that are similar to this that I like just a little bit more. This is really thin in texture, lightweight on the skin. Sometimes it can cling to my dry patches or just like kind of sit a little bit odd on my face. There are some days that I absolutely love this and other days that I'm like, it's just okay in my opinion. And I have other foundations that I like them or like that foundation anytime I use it. So for me, this is just okay. And then also the Rare Beauty concealer. I really do like this. I think it's a really nice concealer. I have mine in the shade 130N, which I think is just way too light for me. This is one I would possibly consider like passing this one along and then picking it up in a shade that I feel like would match me better. I really like the doe foot on this. It's just a little bit different than other doe foot applicators. And I really like the way that it like applies the actual concealer. This is more of like a medium, like light to medium coverage concealer. So if you need to do a lot of concealing, I don't feel like this is going to be your favorite. It's definitely not full coverage. And for me, this was just okay. Again, I would be curious if I got this in a shade that I feel like matched me better. I feel like I might like this a little bit more. So this is one I think in the future I will purchase in a shade that's just a little bit deeper. I have a tinted moisturizer. I got this in a BoxyCharm. I never would have bought this on my own because I think it's like $110. It's outrageously priced. It's the CatriceCosmetics Active Glow Tinted Day Cream. I really like this. And the only reason I'm putting it in the just okay category is because of the price tag. Like, this is really nice. And if it was not $100 or however much it is, like it's at least in the 80s, I would definitely repurchase this. But the Smashbox Halo Glow, which I've been talking about a ton on my channel, very similar to this, and it's only $36. So if you like a glowy tinted moisturizer, I would recommend the Smashbox one. I've recommended that a lot lately. But I did want to review this in case I hadn't heard of this brand until I got it in BoxyCharm, but I thought I would just throw it out there in case there's someone watching that has been eyeing this and wants to know. It is stunning, but I just feel like it's very overpriced. For a tinted moisturizer, like $100 seems a little outrageous. I have two eyeshadow palettes in the Just Okay category. This was a bummer, you guys. I don't know if it was just like, I don't know, the shades in this were just powderier than I was expecting. It's really the mattes that are holding this back in the Just Okay category. I think that the shimmers in this are stunning, like truly stunning. And I might end up eventually just like popping all of these shades out and putting them in a Z palette, but the mattes were so powdery in this, and I don't know, I've known ColourPop to be better, so I would probably just go with the Going Coconuts over this. I would highly recommend Ritz and Koosh, the Super Shocks that came with this. Those were absolutely beautiful, but I don't hate the mattes in this. They're just a lot drier than I'm used to with ColourPop and a lot more powdery, so this was a bit of a bummer, and that's why I'm putting it in the Just Okay. I still feel like if you like the color story, like you'll like the palette. It still performs fine, but it's just fine in my opinion, which is why I'm putting it in the Just Fine category. And then also I have this one from CatriceCosmetics. This one was sent to me from Ofra via my Octoly store. It's a 5-pan eyeshadow palette. This is the Empowered palette. I thought I was really going to enjoy this because I love green shadows, but it was just okay for me. The two mattes, they're fine. This one I've used just like as a one shadow and done, and it works really nicely. The greens are pretty, and this satin shade is pretty, but I wasn't overly impressed with the eyeshadow formula, and full price, it's $32 for these 5 pans. I don't think it's worth that price tag. All right, and then I just have 3 like eyeshadow topper products to finish out this section with. So I have the Dominique Cosmetics Liquid Shadow in Electric Soul. For me, again, this was just okay. I think this was 20 bucks, and I just don't think it's worth it for the liquid shadow. It's a pretty shade. It's really cool as it has like this beautiful shift to it. It's fairly easy to layer and apply. I didn't feel like it was the most long lasting, and I don't think it's worth $20. Simple as that. And then I also picked up the liquid chromium shadow from Natasha Denona, and I honestly regret this so much. The formula isn't bad, which is why I'm not putting it in the fail category, because it's not a fail of a formula. But $25 for, first of all, this really small, like I don't, like, if you know what the Rare Beauty liquid blush is, like, it is tiny. Like, it's the size of my pinky. Tiny. $25 for this. I mean, it's pretty, but you can get a multi-dimensional liquid shadow from JD Glow Cosmetics for under $20, and I'm sure you get more product in it. Again, like, it's pretty, but Natasha, you're robbing us for these. Like, you are committing a crime. That's all I'm going to say there. And then I also have this one from Hourglass. It's one of their Scattered Lights, and it's in the shade Vivid. This is a really beautiful green shade, and it's just not quite as intense as I was wanting. I feel like I should have just gone with one of the champagne shades for this. Again, really expensive. I want to say these are like $29, and I just thought it was okay. I don't really have a lot more to say about this. I know when I wore this in one of my videos, and I got a ton of questions about what was on my eyes. So, I mean, that's great, but I still just think the formula is fine. Like, the Tarte Chrome paint pots are $24, or just like a little bit cheaper, and they're definitely more intense. At least I'm only speaking to this shade. So it was just okay. I just thought it was okay. All right, you guys, and we are gonna wrap it up with my 3 fails. I have 2 products from Catrice. So first of all, let's start with this. This was gifted to me from Catrice through Octoly. This is their new Clean Hydro BB Cream. It has 99% natural ingredients, and it is vegan. Okay, so I got mine in the shade Fair Neutral. First of all, I get my hand is self-tanned, but even on my face, I was like, holy moly, that is very, very light. Very light. But this blends away into nothing. It's almost like a gel moisturizer, and it like literally blends away into nothing. Like, it doesn't leave a white cast. I mean, maybe it made my hand look a little bit glossy, but it offers no coverage. Like, you may as well just have like called this a gel moisturizer. Not that it feels that moisturizing. Maybe like a gel primer. It does feel like it has a bit of a tack to it. Not impressed with this at all. I might try and use this as like a gym tinted moisturizer, but it doesn't even really like blur imperfections like some like really light coverage tinted moisturizers or BB creams. Are BB creams supposed to have more coverage? I honestly don't know. I wouldn't recommend this one, unfortunately. And then Catrice also sent over a like bundle that had a setting spray, an eyeshadow palette, a foundation, and then also the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer, which I have used up in the past. Used up a whole one and really enjoyed. I don't think they reformulated, but this is like really, really liquidy and just, I don't know, it just didn't provide me as much coverage as it used to. They don't have a great shade range, which is another reason I'm ranking this, which is another reason I'm putting this in the fail category, but it really doesn't, has it always been like sheer coverage? I swear it hasn't. But when I use this the last few days, it has just offered no coverage at all. And again, I'm not one that needs full coverage, but it's been like no coverage. So for me, this is a fail. I still feel like I can probably get use out of it and maybe finish it. If I'm remembering correctly, the last time I went through one of these, it went pretty quickly. So we'll see. But that was a fail for me. And then I am really bummed about this, but the NARS multi-stick in South Beach. I've been trying to make this work for me, and it's not something I'm going to declutter. It's just, I was really excited for this, and it just didn't turn into, like, it just doesn't really do anything. Like, I've tried to use this as a blush, I've tried to use this as a bronzer topper. I don't really know how I'm supposed to use this. I mean, I know you can use it in many different ways, but every way I've used it, it's kind of just like blended away into nothing. And I thought it was going to be a really, really beautiful like bronzer topper. I thought it was going to be kind of similar to the Tower 28 Bronzino bronzer. It just wasn't that, and I just do not think it's worth it for the price. So unfortunately for me, this multi-stick from NARS, specifically in the shade South Beach, I think they have one other shade, I can't remember what it is or what shade it even is, like what color, but South Beach multi-stick from NARS was a fail for me. All right, you guys, and after that, that is going to conclude this speed reviews video. I am currently working my way through a bunch of other new products to review for you guys. Also expect a current favorites coming up as well. I have so many favorites right now. I'm gonna do like a current or winter favorites, so keep your eye out for that. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel as you always do, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.